After coming home from a long hard day of work at the cheese sandwich factory, I checked my phone to see some messages from people telling me about how Xbox Live's coming to the Nintendo Switch, which I initially thought was another case of a self-proclaimed industry insider making things up on Twitter. But as it turns out, these leaks are reputable, because I got an email from the real Shigeru Sexual Chocolate Miyamoto himself, who confirmed this rumor as a fact to me personally, and we could take that to the bank. Unfortunately, though, he wouldn't give me any other details. But it seems like this is something that's really gonna happen, and the more I look into the matter, the more confused I get, since there's not a ton of information about what this means in the short term, and even less about what the possibilities are for the future. So make yourself comfortable, remind your pet that all senior citizens should have Life Alert, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, Cameron, to ask the 7 biggest questions about Xbox Live coming to the Nintendo Switch. Alright, so my first question is, to what extent is Xbox Live coming to the Nintendo Switch? From what I'm gathering, it seems to mean that at the very least you can play multiplats on the Switch and still unlock trophies for your Microsoft account. But the real meat and potatoes appears to be that even if you don't own an Xbox, you can still play Switch games online with the far superior Xbox Live. Crossplay's already been a thing with Minecraft and Fortnite, which I guess you could kinda say has been a catalyst to this whole thing. But the actual Xbox Live service coming to the Nintendo Switch would be a huge upgrade for the multiplats that are meant to be played online. Because now developers don't have to feel handcuffed trying to cater to the Switch's ass backwards online service. Which brings me to my next question. What does Nintendo get out of Xbox Live coming to the Switch? I totally understand what Microsoft gets out of it because they don't have a handheld or anything like that. And rather than making the Xbox 69 a hybrid like I originally hoped, they thought outside the box, and instead it looks like they're just going to use the Switch and mobile devices for portability. That way, when people buy multiplats for the Switch solely based on portability, they're at least going to sign into Microsoft's service when they connect online. I mean, if you lose a game sale to a competitor, then the next best thing's for them to be signed into your online service. And to be honest, I think it's actually a brilliant idea on Microsoft's part. And of course this benefits Nintendo because it just means more games for them. Then of course there's the crossplay, which just benefits everybody. When online console gaming first started blowing up, I just assumed that PS3 and Xbox 360 users could play with each other. So I have no idea why this took so long to become a thing, or why Sony's being a dick about it when Nintendo, the company with all the ass-backwards policies, understands that there's no reason to stop it. So I can see the benefits Nintendo gets out of crossplay. And I realize there's no reason for someone who saves their game on an Xbox to not be able to pick up where they left off on the Switch later on, as long as that person owns both copies. But for Switch owners who don't care about Mario Kart or Smash, that just want to play an all-time classic like Scoot with their Xbox friends, Xbox Live just gives those people less of a reason to buy the Switch's online service at all. I mean, there's no way Nintendo actually believes that people are paying even just $20 a year for a small handful of NES games. People are only getting it to play the Switch's games online, which is obviously never going to be playable on an Xbox. So I feel like Nintendo greenlighting Xbox Live's basically them admitting they have no idea what they're doing with online gaming. It's like they're just telling third parties,
"Oh yeah, our online service sucks. We're not going to try to do anything to improve. So if you're going to port a game to the Switch that needs online, just use Xbox Live."
I know Fortnite's online play is not done through Nintendo's service, but Epic Games doesn't own a rival console either. Xbox Live would probably bring more third-party multiplats to the Switch though, which certainly benefits NDOG. But it also means third-party games aren't going to promote Switch online. I guess Nintendo's probably thinking Smash, Mario Kart, and Splatoon are still popular enough to not lose any sales from Xbox Live, since I'm sure 99% of the people using Switch online only bought it for those 3 games anyway. And without Xbox Live, online-heavy third-party games wouldn't come to the Switch at all anyway. So I better just answer my own question as to what Nintendo gets out of the deal, and I have a little more to say about it later. Regardless though, I think it's a shame we're not going to be able to use Xbox Live to play Smash Ultimate. But speaking of Smash Ultimate, the third question is, now that Microsoft and Nintendo are escalating the relationship to the next level, is it possible that Banjo and Kazooie are finally going to come to Smash? I've already made a full video about why I don't think it'll happen in the near future, and I admit that Xbox Live coming to the Switch definitely raises the chances of that happening. And if I was a betting full-grown boy, I'd still say that I gotta stand by everything I said in that video. I really hope I'm wrong, and Xbox Live coming to the Switch probably is crazier than Banjo and Smash. But as hard as it could be to understand what's going on inside Nintendo's noodle, I think they're slowly but surely becoming more open-minded to playing well with others. But unlike giving third parties the option to use Xbox Live with their Switch games, Banjo getting an invitation to Smash does have one downside for Nintendo, because that's just gonna make people want Banjo 3, and if they do end up making a Banjo 3, it's gonna be exclusive to Xbox. And it's not like Nintendo's desperate for ideas of who to put in Smash. If it were up to me though, I'd just let it happen since Microsoft's pretty much begging to have Banjo in the game, but I think Nintendo's too paranoid to pull the trigger. But I went into way more detail on that in my Banjo video. But if Xbox Live coming to the Switch means you can stream Xbox games, then all bets are off. Which brings me to another huge question I have. Would Microsoft bring actual Xbox games or Game Pass to the Switch? I know the Switch could be a way to play the Xbox on the go, and the digital sale would be extra money for Microsoft in the end to be able to tap into the Switch's install base like that while essentially giving Nintendo more games. But the Switch doesn't have Wi-Fi, and streaming games to it doesn't make it portable just because it's undocked. It's for that reason why I think it was a stupid idea to bring Resident Evil 7 to the Switch through a cloud. Plus, if you can stream Xbox games to your Switch or your phone, then why even buy an Xbox at all? Personally, I'd hate to own a game that you can only play by streaming it through an internet connection, and I use the term own loosely. And make no mistake, Xbox games would definitely have to be streamed from a cloud since cell phones and the Switch aren't powerful enough. But I'm sure enough people wouldn't mind this to where it hurt the next Xbox's sales. So it makes me wonder a fifth question. What the hell is Microsoft doing with their next Xbox? They've been buying an assload of game studios to fix the fact that they barely have any exclusives. But in addition to exclusives, Microsoft's decided it's not a good idea to screw customers over anymore with things like 50% of your consoles breaking, forced motion controls, or implementing DRM policies. They seem like they're completely pro-consumer nowadays, and I'm probably gonna get their next console as long as it has exclusives that I want besides Cuphead. As great as all that is, though, straight up bringing Xbox Live to the Switch and mobile devices is the most drastic move Microsoft's ever made, and it just makes me wonder what their long-term plan is other than increasing software sales. I suppose the most likely goal for Microsoft is to become the Netflix of gaming, just with their own console that competes with everyone else. But will Nintendo try doing the same thing and bring their service to Xbox? No, not their service that provides online play, you ding-dong. I mean their service that lets you play older games. 99% of me thinks it's impossible, but the 1% just keeps reminding me about how Nintendo ended up making mobile games. And remember, bringing Xbox Live to the Switch is hell freezing over. The reason I doubt this, though, is because Nintendo seems to think that people would actually buy a Switch just to play NES games. But honestly, I think Nintendo putting their older games on mobile devices and even the Xbox the same way Microsoft might put theirs on the Switch would only make Nintendo more money. I know I said most Switch owners don't really want to pay $20 a year for this, but that's because people expect more out of a Nintendo console. On a rival console, it'd be a pretty cool novelty bonus, though. Not to mention that whenever the 64 app comes out, the Banjo and Conquer coming to it wouldn't be a problem. And Nintendo is a business, so as long as they realize their older games won't sell Switches and that people buy classic consoles for the novelty of the shell, then older Nintendo games ending up on the Xbox isn't impossible. I know I'm gonna get my ass roasted in the comments for thinking Banjo's unlikely for Smash, but touting that NES games on Xbox is a possibility. So for the record, I do think Banjo and Smash is the more likely of the two things to happen. And if any Nintendo games end up on Xbox, then I'll rip my own ass off if Banjo doesn't make the cut. But goddammit, I'd rather be surprised at Banjo's inclusion to Smash rather than be disappointed if he doesn't get an invitation. But my final question, though, is what does Nintendo and Microsoft teaming up mean for Sony? As successful as the Switch is, it's never truly been direct competition for the PS4 or Xbox One. I mean, it is, but not nearly to the extent that Sony and Microsoft are competing with each other given that they're a lot more similar. And I think Microsoft realized this and figured that there's no real reason why Nintendo can't be an ally. After all, many hardcore gamers, or whatever you want to call it, usually buy a Nintendo platform and then choose between Microsoft and Sony. So if you're undecided as to which of these two consoles you want to choose and Microsoft's offering a benefit that complements your Nintendo console, then chances are you're probably going to lean towards an Xbox. Some people think this will help Microsoft finally make it in Japan, and while I'm sure that's what they're hoping for, I just don't think that's going to happen since most Japanese gamers consciously resist it. Nintendo aligning with Microsoft might not hurt Sony sales in Japan that much, but it's definitely going to be a problem for them everywhere else. And if Sony were to lose enough traction, then Nintendo would just completely rule gaming in Japan. Don't get me wrong, I've always been a Sony boy and I don't want them to go out of business. But maybe Sony didn't want to do crossplay because they saw Microsoft was scheming something. And now that they seemingly have an alliance with Nintendo, as well as an assload of new game studios to make exclusives, Sony's gonna have to counter it with something awesome, which is why I think this is a great time to be a gamer, as well as an interesting one. Who knows what Xbox Live coming to the Switch means, though? There's still way more questions that need to be answered, but these are the things I've been thinking about the most. Although, I haven't been thinking about them quite as much as the patrons of the day, Justin D and Colton Schaefer. As far as I'm concerned, these two gentlemen deserve Nobel Peace Prizes. If you want to become a badass like them, though, then consider supporting this channel on Patreon for loot boxes and silly rewards. Or if you pick up a badass t-shirt or coffee mug that are guaranteed to land you a hot date, then just send us pictures or videos of you rocking the merch and we'll put them in our videos like these legends right here. What are you wondering about Xbox Live being on the Switch, though? Is there anything obvious I'm not thinking about? Or am I just getting crazy? Either way, let me know in the comments below, and as always, I'll pin whatever I find most entertaining or intriguing. Make sure you're subscribed to prove to the world that you're a sexy beast. And if you like and share this video, that really does go a long way to help this channel grow. My name's Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.